Elon Musk returns home, fatigued from his day, anticipating tranquility. Instead, he discovers his son X in tears, clutching a drooping daisy. The boy's tiny grief, unfiltered and genuine, halts him in his tracks. Neither a plan nor a dream, but a poignant reality. What X reveals next dismantles a giant, sowing a seed that transforms everything. Elon Musk glides his Tesla into the driveway of his unassuming Austin residence. The engines purr softly, their sound diminishing beneath a twilight sky brushed with hues of purple and gold. The day's wait lingers, interminable meetings, supply chain tangles, a haze of plans that held him back once more. His shoulders droop, keys clinking as he exits, the warm Texas breeze wafting the subtle aroma of cedar and grass. He anticipates a serene home with X, his 5-year-old son, probably settled in by the nanny, dinner left untouched on the counter. The porch light dances, casting a gentle illumination on the weathered steps as he ascends, briefcase clutched tightly, thoughts lingering in the confines of a boardroom. He nudges the door ajar, the creak resonating in the quiet, and sets his bag down by the coat rack, easing his tie from around his neck. X calls softly, anticipating silence, the hour for sleep well behind. The living room is shrouded in darkness, the television silent, with toys strewn about like abandoned dreams. He strides into the kitchen, flicking on the light. The fluorescence hums, illuminating the tiled counter with a sharp glow, revealing a sink brimming with dishes and a half-eaten apple slowly browning near the fridge. He halts, a subtle noise drawing his attention, a hiccup, a sniffle emanating from the shadowy corner by the pantry. Elon pivots, his brow knitting in concentration, and approaches, his loafer whispering against the linoleum. There, nestled on the floor against the wall, is X, his petite figure curled in a gray hoodie, hood pulled up, knees drawn close. Tears shimmer on his cheeks, his hands gripping something fragile, a wilted daisy, its petals sagging, stem curved. X, Elon murmurs, his voice barely above a whisper, as he kneels down, the briefcase slipping from his grasp. Hello, my friend. What seems to be the issue? He anticipates a fall, a troubling vision, a minor comfort to ease with a swift remedy, an embrace, a vow. X gazes upward, his blue eyes glistening, rimmed in red, his lip quivering. I chose it for you, he cries, his voice trembling, extending the daisy, its once bright yellow center dulled, petals drooping like a shattered plaything. However, it perished. I was unaware that it required remaining alive. The words pour out, his tiny fingers trembling, and Elon's heart constricts. A sudden shock catches him off guard, his typical response, "We'll get another," lodged in his throat. The kitchen's light intensifies X's tears, the daisies droop with a subtle pain, and Elon sits, legs awkwardly crossed on the floor, drawing X nearer, the flower quivering between them. It's all right, he makes an effort, his voice gravelly, yet X shakes his head, crying even more intensely. I wish to bring you joy, he murmurs, but it's lost. Elon's heart contorts. He pursued grand ambitions, striving for success and dreams, constantly in motion, crafting a life he believed was magnificent, sufficient for them both. Yet the sorrow that X carries, it lingers, piercing deeper than any obstacle. A young one's grief for a flower's departure striking with an undeniable reality he'd overlooked. He had hurried through meetings and plans, perpetually on the move. Yet this daisy, this tear, brings him to a halt, a stillness he had missed. He brushes X's cheek, his thumb tender, the daisy stem delicate in his grasp. You did make me happy, he says, his voice low and catching. In his pursuit, he perceived existence as a competition, bustling and grand. Yet X's affection for this little thing shatters it, revealing the faith and care he had allowed to fade away. The stillness of the kitchen envelopes them, dishes left as they are, an apple turning brown, time suspended as he cradles X. The daisies droop, reflecting the fleeting moments he allowed to slip away. I was unaware. X hiccups, and Elon's throat feels a fiery sting. He had exerted effort, set his sights high, yet failed to achieve this, a lesson he had chosen to overlook. He adjusts his position, settling into a cross-legged stance, with X resting in his lap. The floor felt cool beneath them. "We'll find a way," he whispers, his tone gentle, the daisy delicate in their grasp. He had resolved issues, tackled emergencies, and addressed setbacks. Yet, this sensation is distinct, a wound not healed, but embraced. X's sobs subside, his tiny frame leaning in, while Elon gazes at the flower, a pale yellow, its petals curling, revealing a truth he had long avoided. He had always been the one to take action, his days a whirlwind of activities. Yet X's tears transformed, a silence he'd submerged, now surfacing. The kitchen clock ticks steadily, marking 8 p.m., while Elon remains, dismissing the persistent buzz of his phone in the bag. A call that can wait for another evening. He had crafted elaborate, ambitious visions, yet the loss of this daisy brings him to his knees. X's bring joy, a burden he now bears. "Tell me about it," he says gently, nodding toward the flower, and X sniffles softly. It was lovely, a vibrant yellow, reminiscent of the sun. Elon offers a subtle smile, reminiscent of you, while X's eyes shimmer with a hint of excitement. And Elon embraces him tighter, the daisy, a subtle connection linking their souls. He had hurried, perpetually pushing ahead, yet X's sorrow anchors him, rekindling a belief in the little pleasures he had allowed to fade. The kitchen's light gently fades, the harsh fluorescence giving way to a warmer glow as he switches the bulb, and he murmurs under his breath. Incredible, harsh, not directed at X, but rather aimed inward. The lessons of the daisy are taking root. He had been the architect of his own existence, a life filled with thunderous energy, but this shatters it all. A child's tear revealing a concern he had overlooked. He remains, X's breath becoming more measured, the flower held tightly, a fissure appearing, subtle yet undeniable. A man contemplating what other aspects of his life had slipped away in the whirlwind he had created around him. The soft glow of the kitchen envelopes Elon Musk and his young son, X. On the linoleum floor, X cradles a wilted daisy, its drooping petals and bent stem resting gently in their small hands. Tears shimmer on X's cheeks, his gray hoodie soaked from weeping, yet his sobs have quieted, his petite frame curled against Elon's chest. The phrase "I chose for you," yet it withered away. Echo in his mind, a subtle pang that keeps him anchored, his briefcase left by the entrance. The days hurry, dissolving into the tranquility of now. He discovered X huddled in the corner, mourning a flower intended as a gift, and now, as he cradles him, Elon senses a fissure he hadn't realized existed, a burden more substantial than any ambition he'd pursued. He gently sweeps X's hair aside, his voice barely above a whisper. "Your kindness brought me joy, my friend." X sniffles, blue eyes glimmering for a moment, but then it fades away. Elon's throat constricts. He had raced through life, perpetually constructing, perpetually distant, believing that his efforts sufficed for them both. Yet X's sorrow, now extinguished, penetrates deeper than any forgotten deadline, akin to a child's affection for the fleeting life of a daisy, piercing through his unwavering ambition. He gently cradles the flower, its yellow heart dulled, and says, "We can't fix this one, but we can create more." X's eyes widen with a spark as Elon rises, lifting him effortlessly. The daisy nestled in X's grip, a delicate fragment they hold in unison. He casts a fleeting look at the clock, 8:30 p.m. The dishes in the kitchen remain untouched, an apple slowly browning on the counter, yet none of it holds any significance. "Come on," he says, his voice a mix of roughness and warmth, guiding X through the back door, the screen door creaking softly as they enter the yard. The night in Austin envelopes them, with a refreshing breeze, the sound of crickets serenading the evening, moonlight casting a silvery glow over the grass, the backyard's uneven lawn, a solitary oak standing tall, and a flower bed that may had begun long ago, now tangled in a wild embrace of weeds. Elon places X on the ground, the boy's sneakers embedding into the soil, while Neil's slacks become marked with green. "Let's plant something," he says, his voice unwavering, "for the daisy." X holds the flower tightly, filled with uncertainty. "But it's gone," he murmurs, and Elon acknowledges with a nod, his hand resting on his shoulder. "Absolutely, we can cultivate new ones and bring joy to the process." He hurried through his tasks, juggling work and plans, never stopping to take a breath. Yet X's tears hinder him, a belief in compassion he had allowed to fade. He takes a trowel from a weathered shed, its blade worn, and begins to work the flower bed, soil breaking apart beneath the glow of the moon. X observes for a moment, then kneels down, placing the daisy gently aside, his tiny hand digging into the soil. In this manner, he inquires, and a faint smile graces Elon's lips. "Precisely, a bit of chaos is acceptable." They function well, quietly united. Moonlight shimmered on the trowel, dirt streaking X's hoodie, Elon's tie hanging loosely around his neck, as he set out to construct grand, ambitious dreams. Yet this seems distinct, a subtle gesture, a young one's grief steering his movements. "We require seeds," Elon declares, as he searches through the shed, uncovering a dusty packet labeled with May's handwriting, containing daisies. On bright days, his heart constricts, her voice, her belief, a stillness he had overlooked, and he comes back, ripping it apart, the seeds small in his hand. "Here," he says, offering some to X, "place them in." X sprinkles them. "Be cautious." His tears have now dried, a concentration taking hold, soil beneath his nails, the moonlight illuminating his features. "Will they flourish?" he inquires, and Elon responds with a curt nod. "They'll make an effort, we'll assist." He viewed life as a competition, the busiest and the grandest. Yet X's question alters that perspective, offering a lesson that goes beyond mere victory. They press the soil, hands smoothing the earth, the drooping daisy resting softly on top, a symbol, a vow. "For you," X whispers, not to Elon, but to the flower, and Elon's throat burns. He'd missed this, a care so small it's vast. The night grows darker, the crickets chirp more insistently, the stars shine with brilliance, and Elon reclines, X nestled against him, the trowel resting nearby. "Are you all right?" he inquires gently, and X responds with a nod. Indeed, it no longer stands in solitude. Elon's heart contorts as he races ahead in every direction. Yet X's belief in the tranquility of a flower's slumber shatters it, a silence he had previously silenced. He had always been the one to take action, his existence a vibrant symphony. Yet this moment anchors him, a child's affection for the delicate bloom of a daisy, a reality he had long avoided. "You're right," he whispers, his voice barely above a murmur. "It's got companions." X's tiny hand clutches his, dirt smudging their palms, and Elon holds on firmly, the yard becoming a sanctuary he never realized he craved. He intended to review emails, calls, and plans, yet the phone remains silent, his bag lying untouched within. The kitchen's light gently filters through the window, yet they remain, bathed in moonlight that casts a silvery glow on their faces, while the flower bed stands as a small beacon of hope. Elon asks about the daisy, his tone rough, while X's voice rises in response. It shone with a brilliance reminiscent of a joyful grin. Elon laughs gently, reminiscent of your own, while X offers a subtle smile, and Elon's heart swells. He has created magnificent wonders. Yet this earth, this child, feels more significant, a belief in nurturing he had allowed to fade. They sit, X's head drooping, his breathing slowing, while Elon carries him inside, leaving the daisy's marker behind, a silent promise lingering in the air. He gently places X in bed, still wearing his hoodie, and lingers for a moment, his hand resting softly on his son's hair. "Sleep tight," he murmurs, his voice rough, before stepping out. The house, quiet yet vibrant, crickets serenading through the window, dishes patiently awaiting their turn. He had hurried, perpetually moving on, yet X's tears revealed a lesson in presence he had yet to grasp. He lounges on the porch, stars twinkling overhead, and grumbles, astonishing, rough around the edges. The weight of the daisy settles in, a subtle crack forming, not magnificent but genuine, a man reevaluating all, in the stillness of a seed taking root. The initial rays of dawn gently spill over the Austin skyline, casting delicate shades of pink and gold upon the front porch of Elon Musk's unassuming residence, while the air remains refreshingly cool from the remnants of night. Elon perches on the weathered wooden steps, a chipped mug of coffee warming his hands, his gray t-shirt creased from a restless night. X's 5-year-old son is peacefully asleep indoors, snuggled under a cozy blanket after their enchanting moonlit planting, with daisy seeds nestled into the flower bed of the backyard. The drooping daisy, resting gently as a subtle signifier, the memory of X's tears, chosen for you, now faded, lingers with Elon. A soft pain that holds him in place. The kitchen's dishes remain unwashed, his phone quiet in his pocket. He had embraced X tightly the previous night, pledging to cultivate new blooms, a promise that seemed more significant than the ground they had tread upon, a fissure in his unwavering determination that he was just beginning to sense. He takes a sip of the coffee, its bitterness lingering on his tongue, and casts his gaze toward the flower bed across the yard, where fresh soil forms a dark patch beneath the shadow of the oak. He had hurried through work and plans, constantly on the move, constructing a life he believed was sufficient. Yet X's lament for the fallen daisy had brought him to a halt, the sorrow of a child halting his advance. Incredible, he murmurs, rough around the edges, the term instinctive, gentler now, the stillness of the porch enveloping him, a groan of timber, a distant chorus of crickets dwindling. He had been the one taking action, his days a whirlwind of activities. Yet X's desire to bring you joy transforms it, a trust and concern he allowed to fade, a lesson he bears into this new day. The screen door lets out a soft squeak as X steps outside, barefoot, clad in a loose gray hoodie, his eyes puffy yet shining with a hint of brightness. "Dad," he says, his voice barely above a whisper, gripping a plastic watering can, its spout worn from countless adventures. Elon places the mug on the table, a subtle smile playing at the corners of his lips. "Hey there, up bright and early, I see." X nods, inching nearer, the can brushing against his leg. He gestures toward the flower bed, mentioning the daisies, and a sense of unease grips Elon's chest, as if he fears for their survival too. X's care, delicate yet powerful, resonates with the sorrow of last night, a burden he never realized he required. "Good thinking," he remarks, his voice a blend of roughness and warmth, as he rises to accompany him, the porch steps groaning softly underfoot as they make their way down to the grass. They traverse the yard, dew soaking X's toes, Elon's sneakers sinking into the yielding earth, the flower bed poised beneath the dawn's gentle illumination. X kneels, cautious, pouring water from the can. Slow, uneven splashes, his brow furrowed like a gardener's. "Like this?" he asks, and Elon crouches beside him, hand steadying the can, perfect, gentle, so they feel it. He had constructed monumental aspirations, yet this sensation is expansive, a youthful optimism steering his actions. The soil receives its drink, the earth deepening in hue, the drooping daisies a testament to moisture yet unbothered, a silent vow enduring steadfastly. X leans back, rubbing his hands on his hoodie, and gazes upward, his eyes filled with wonder. Will they flourish today? Elon laughs gently. "Not just yet. It requires patience, my friend. We will continue to assist." X nods solemnly, and Elon's heart tightens. He is always pushed ahead, yet X's calm demeanor shatters that resolve, revealing a lesson in patience he has yet to grasp. "All right," X replies, placing the can down. "I'll take a look tomorrow." Elon tousles his hair, a rugged determination in his demeanor, acknowledging their shared journey. The tranquility of the yard envelopes them, the grass whispering and a bird singing, a serenity he had overlooked in his haste. A figure crosses the street, Mrs. Carter, an elderly neighbor with silver hair, tending to her flowers in a worn apron. With a wave of curiosity, she approaches, her sandals making a rhythmic slap against the pavement. "Good morning, Elon." "X," she calls, her voice warm as she pauses by the fence. "What's got you two out so early?" X glances upward, timid, while Elon responds, brusque, nurturing, X's concept, with daisies. Mrs. Carter smiles, leaning on the fence, her gaze gentle on X. "Daisies. Huh? My mama cherished those, claiming their smiles could help you flourish." X brightens, gripping the can tightly. "Mine's gone," he murmurs, "but we're creating more." Mrs. Carter's smile widens, a spark of understanding in her eyes. "That's the way, keep nurturing, they'll arrive." Elon's breath hitches. X's "I was unaware it required permanence," reverberations, her phrases reflecting his son's devotion, a belief in cultivation he had overlooked. "He's instructing me," Elon remarks, his tone rough, catching himself off guard, and she acknowledges with a nod. "Children have that way of reminding us of what we overlook." X beams cast a warm glow, dirt smudged on his cheek, and Elon's chest swells with warmth. He had pushed himself, aimed high, yet this conversation feels monumental. As they converse, Mrs. Carter reveals a clever technique, allowing the water to flow gently, letting it settle, while X attentively listens, nodding in agreement, his can angled similarly to hers. Elon observes the coffee left untouched as the morning light gathers around them, oak leaves dancing gently, dew sparkling. He had been the architect of his own existence, a life filled with thunderous energy, yet X's tears transformed the scene, a silent tide now surfacing from the depths he once submerged. "Thanks," he grumbles as she dismisses him with a wave, her apron dancing in the breeze, while X pulls at his hand. "Could we take our time with this?" Elon nods, gently affirming, "Yeah, taking it slow is just fine." They kneel once more, tending to the earth, hands stained with soil, the flowerbed a quiet promise beneath the soft light of dawn. The sun ascends, enveloping the surroundings in warmth as X stretches and leans comfortably against Elon's side. "Feeling weary?" Elon inquires, and X responds with a resolute shake of his head. "Must remain for the blossoms." Elon lets out a soft chuckle. "Are you really tougher than I am, child?" He had hurried, perpetually on the move, yet X's determination shatters it, revealing a lesson in perseverance he had overlooked. They sit, X's head hanging low, the can spilled beside them, dirt staining their hands. Elon gently requests to hear about the daisy once more, and X's voice rises with enthusiasm. It shone with a yellow hue reminiscent of a gentle light. Elon feels a sharp discomfort in his eyes. He had constructed magnificent creations, yet this blossom seems boundless, a belief in nurturing he had allowed to diminish. Their presence lingers, the yard coming to life, birds singing, a dog barking in the distance, X's breath becoming steadier, his slight form resting heavily against Elon. He had scheduled calls and tasks awaiting him, yet the phone remains silent, his bag lying undisturbed within. The soil of the flowerbed sparkles, a subtle promise, and Elon grumbles, incredulous, not directed at X, but rather to himself, the lesson of the daisy embedding itself further, a fissure expanding, not boisterous, but genuine. He carries X inside, the boy's head lolling, and pauses, hand on the door, the morning's light a gentle weight, a man reconsidering everything, anchored in a seed's small promise. The late afternoon sun envelopes Austin in a golden glow, its warmth gently blurring the outlines of a quaint park, just a brief walk from Elon Musk's residence where he walks alongside his 5-year-old son, X. The winding paths of the park lead past a lively playground where swings creak and children's laughter fills the air, alongside a serene garden patch adorned with vibrant wildflowers, their hues striking against the lush greenery. X grips his worn plastic watering can, his gray hoodie marked with soil from the morning's labor, his blue eyes shining even as he suppresses a yawn. Elon holds a paper bag filled with gardening tools, a trowel, gloves, a seed packet, his jeans marked with dirt from kneeling in the backyard. The memory of a wilted daisy rests lightly in his chest, alongside the tears from X last night. "I picked it for you, but it died." Their moonlit planting still echoes, creating a crack in Elon's unwavering drive, softened by the quiet care of the morning. Nearly there, Elon remarks, his voice a mix of roughness and gentleness, casting a glance at X, who responds with a nod, the can tapping against his leg. At dawn, they tended to the flowerbed, X's small hands gently pouring water, Mrs. Carter's advice to let it sink resonating in their deliberate splashes. Now, inspired by X's enthusiasm, can we witness the blossoming of flowers? They've arrived at the park's garden, an opportunity to cultivate something beyond their own yard, a move Elon hadn't anticipated but one that resonates deeply. He had hurried through work and plans, constantly on the move, constructing a life he believed to be magnificent. Yet, the sorrow of X over a daisy's loss brings him to a halt while a child's unwavering faith in care transforms his pace. Upon arriving at the garden, a quaint space bordered by benches, daisies, and marigolds sway gently in the breeze. X kneels, placing the can down, his fingers grazing the earth. Similar to ours? He inquires, and Elon bends slightly, affirming with a nod. Absolutely, my friend, the same concept applies, let's ensure their satisfaction. X smiles softly and pours water, mindful not to overflow, his concentration reflecting the efforts of last night's planting. Elon observes, trowel resting in his hand, the lively sounds of the park, children laughing, a dog barking, diminishing as X's serene task captivates him. He had always been the one to take action, his days filled with chaos, but this moment shatters that, revealing a lesson he had unwittingly overlooked. A shadow glides across the path as Musk, her silver hair shimmering in the sunlight, emerges from a nearby rental car. Her flowered scarf dances in the breeze as she waves. Elon, X, she calls, her voice rich with a South African lilt, her sudden appearance a surprise. Elon stands, stern and imposing. Mother, what brings you here? She smiles as she approaches them, her gaze gentle on X, who radiates joy, calling out grandma and wrapping his arms around her legs, the can teetering but securely held. Surprise, she exclaims, playfully tousling X's hair. I heard you were planting, so I thought I'd come by and check it out. Elon's brow arches as he recalls the brief text he sent her this morning, a cryptic message about X teaching him things, caught off guard by the unexpected turn of events. So, you're into planting, are you? May kneels beside X, her skirt lightly grazing the ground. Daisies, perhaps similar to the ones I possess? X nods with enthusiasm. Ours has passed, but we're creating new ones for Dad. Her smile broadens, a hint of understanding in her eyes, and Elon's breath hitches. X's I aim to bring you joy reverberations. May's presence reflected the care his son had shown, a belief in nurturing that he had long overlooked. She mentions, casting a glance at Elon. Regarding the flower, it certainly caught you off guard, didn't it? Elon grumbles, his voice low and rough. Indeed, the children managed to escape. X pours more water, his small hand steady, while May observes with a gentle gaze. He holds your heart, perceives what truly counts. Elon adjusts his stance, trowel in hand, as the refreshing breeze of the park brushes against his face. He admits, in a quiet tone that catches him off guard, and May's gaze holds his, unwavering. Life gets hectic, doesn't it? Yet, here you are. Her words settle in this space, a reality he had overlooked in his haste. He had constructed vast, ambitious dreams, yet X's tears transformed, akin to the loss of a daisy, revealing a tenderness he had allowed to fade. Tell me, she says, her voice gentle as she nods to X, while Elon lets out a deep, rough exhale. He wept, gathered it for me, believed it would bring me joy, shattered him when it perished. X glances upward, feeling bashful. I was unaware that it required roots. May lets out a soft, warm chuckle. None of us have done this before, it's our first time. They are engaged in their tasks, X is watering, May is weeding, and Elon is digging small holes for additional seeds. In May, she delivered her parcel marked with daisies, intended for X. The garden buzzes with life, children darting about, a swing creaking in rhythm, yet the edges remain still, dirt marking X's hoodie, May's scarf, and Elon's jeans. He had sprinted, the most occupied, the grandest, yet this sensation is expansive, a youthful aspiration steering his movements. Is this what you had in mind? X inquires, gently patting the soil, while May responds with a nod. Absolutely, shower them with affection and watch them flourish. Elon's heart swells, he had aimed for greatness, yet X's flaws, despite my efforts to mend them, reveal a truth he has yet to grasp. May reclines, soil smudged on her fingers, gazing at Elon with a gentle expression. You resembled him, perpetually mending, never at rest. It took me years to realize that you required roots as well. Elon's throat sears, her voice, her belief, a silence he'd escaped. He grumbles, not believing it holds any significance. I believed that relocating would suffice. She shakes her head, to move is just part of it, to stay is the other half. X scatters seeds, a soft tune escaping their lips, while Elon observes the park bathed in golden light, daisies dancing gently, children's laughter echoing, a moment he had long overlooked. He's instructing me, he murmurs, and May beams. Esteemed educator, lend me your ear. They complete their task, earth softened, moisture absorbed, the garden a quiet promise beneath the sunlight. X lets out a yawn, leaning into May, who wraps her arms around him, tender and full of pride, like a nurturing gardener. Elon's eyes burn with intensity. He has created monumental achievements, yet this moment, this boy, this small piece of land, feels more significant, a rekindling of a belief in nurturing that he had allowed to slip away. Thanks, he grumbles to May, and she gives a slight nod. Grow more, it connects you to your essence. The park vibrates with life, yet they remain. X's hand in his, a fissure forming, subtle yet undeniable. He had always been the visionary, his existence a symphony of passion, yet X's tears offer a moment of reflection, a gentle unfolding of a seed's fragile aspiration. As twilight envelopes the Musk family's Austin residence, the living room is illuminated by the gentle glow of a solitary lamp, casting warmth over the well-loved furniture, a couch that bears the weight of X's playful leaps, a coffee table strewn with books, and a half-assembled model rocket waiting for completion. Elon Musk sits cross-legged on the floor, his gray hoodie marked with dirt from yesterday's planting, a mug of tea cooling beside him. X's 5-year-old son lounges nearby, his hoodie hanging loosely as he colors a picture of daisies with crayons. The yellow petals are bright, the stems stand tall, and his tongue pokes out in concentration. May Musk, her silver hair neatly tucked behind her ears, reclines in an armchair, a flowered scarf casually draped over the back. She flips through a gardening magazine she had brought from the hotel, the memory of wilted daisies mingling with X's tears. I chose it for you, yet it withered, leaving a subtle trace that weaves through their evening, its sown seeds, a promise now anchored in the flowerbed of the backyard. Elon casts a fleeting look at X, the boy's crayon making gentle scratches, and a warmth unfurls within him, a sensation he hadn't realized he longed for, a fissure created by those tears, expanded by their moonlit sowing, the nurturing of morning. And May's tender words in the park. Staying became the pause he never took, rushing through work and plans, always distant, constructing a life he believed was magnificent. Yet X's grief over a flower's loss anchored him, the tenderness of a child's care transforming his relentless pursuit. You're looking good, buddy, he says, his voice a mix of gruffness and warmth, nodding toward the drawing. X gazes upward, eyes shimmering like the sky. It's our daisies just for you. Elon's breath hitches for you, echoing the same words from that night in the kitchen, a treasure he almost overlooked. May places her magazine aside, a gentle smile on her face, recognizing his talent, a reflection of my own, unlike your doodles. Elon chuckles softly, his thoughts filled with blueprints, while X giggles, playfully adding a green stem. Elon leans back, enveloped by the quiet of the room, the distant chirping of crickets and a faint hum of traffic creating a serene backdrop, a moment he had allowed to drift in his hurried pace. He had always been the one to take action, his existence a whirlwind, yet X's tears transformed, revealing a faith he had overlooked, now flourishing in this very moment. Tell me about it, he says softly, gesturing toward the drawing. X's voice rises with joy, it's filled with sunshine, just as Grandma described. May agrees, warmth and affection, daisies require little. Elon's chest warms, he had pushed and aimed high, yet X's, a realization dawns, roots are essential. It's an echo of a lesson in care he's grasping a bit late. Let's check ours, he suggests, rising while X scrambles up, a crayon rolling away, leaving the drawing behind. May rises, scarf slipping, and follows, her sandals soft on the hardwood as they head to the back door, the screen creaking open, the backyard unfolds under a velvet sky, stars winking above the oak, the flower bed, a dark patch where they'd planted seeds. X's small hands pressing soil, Elon's steadying, May's seeds joining theirs, the wilted daisy's marker, a single petal rests atop, a quiet vow, holding fast. X kneels, barefoot, his hoodie brushing the grass, and peers at the soil, eyes wide. Anything yet, he asks, and Elon crouches, hand on his shoulder, not today, takes time, remember, X nods, serious, like you said, slow's good. Elon's heart twists, slow, a word he'd never lived, but X's patience teaches it, a faith in growth he'd missed. May settles on a nearby bench, her smile faint, they're working down there, trust them, Elon mutters, gruff, learning to, and X giggles, patting the dirt. Good daisies grow big, the yard's stillness wraps them, crickets humming, a breeze rustling. A haven he hadn't known he needed, he sits, legs stretched, X leaning into his side, and May speaks, voice soft, you too, planting smiles, just like I taught you. Elon glances at her, the park's words, he's got your heart, echoing. Her faith a mirror to X's care, a quiet he'd run from, didn't stick till now, he says, low, surprising himself, and her eyes meet his, steady, took a daisy happens, you're here, her truth lands here, a weight he'd missed in his rush, he'd built big, grand plans. But X's tears crack it, a flower's loss, showing a care he'd let wilt. Grandma, tell Dad this story, X says, yawning, his small hand gripping Elon's. May chuckles, warm, which one, the daisy field. X nods, curling closer, and she leans forward, voice lilting. When I was a girl, we had a field, daisies everywhere, like stars on the ground, picked them for my mom, but they'd wilt, taught me to plant, not just take. Elon's throat burns, her voice, her lessons, a quiet he'd pushed past, sounds like X. He says, gruff, and she smiles, he's got it, sees what lasts. X's eyes droop, his drawing a memory on the table, and Elon holds him, the story sinking in, a field, a boy, a care he's learning, the stars brighten, the oaks leave swaying, and Elon speaks soft. I didn't see it his Daisy, what it meant. May nods, you do now? Roots, not races. X's breathing slows, asleep against him, and Elon's chest tightens. I wanted to make you happy, a truth he'd nearly missed. He'd raced, busiest, biggest, but this grounds him, a lesson in staying he hadn't learned. Thanks, he says, gruff to May, and she shrugs. Family keeps you human. The yard hums, crickets, breeze, but they stay. X's warmth, a quiet anchor, the flower bed, a vow, under starlight. Elon carries X inside, his small frame heavy, and tucks him in, hoodie still on. May follows, settling on the couch, her magazine open, but unread. Stay a bit, she says, soft, and Elon sits, the living room's glow pooling, crayons scattered, the rocket model waiting. He's changing you, she says, and Elon mutters, gruff, yeah, daisies'll do that. She laughs, quiet, more than you know, watch them grow. He'd rushed, always away, but X's tears shifted, a faith and care he'd let fade, now rooted here. The night deepens. Stars outside, and Elon stays, May's voice a hum, plant more, his hand still, X's drawing on the table, a field of daisies, yellow and bright. He'd been the dreamer, his life a roar, but X's sorrow rethinks it, a quiet blooming in a seed small hope, he mutters, unbelievable, gruff, the flower bed's promise sinking deep, a crack wide now, not grand, but true, a man grounded by a boy's tears, a daisy's fragile light.